II, now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good, roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch. Integrity, AMT high.
AMT high.
On time passing 30 seconds. Integrity passes the ultimate window. Target mile.
In 1972, Gene Cernan, the last man on the moon, left a footprint that has remained untouched for 54 years. Since then, NASA's focus shifted to low Earth orbit, the International Space Station and the shuttle program. But why did we stop? Some say it was the cost. Others say the Cold War ended and the motivation died. But the truth is more complex. Going to the moon was never just about science. It was about dominance. And for 5 decades, no one had a reason to go back. Until now. Artemis II isn't a nostalgia trip. It's a hostile takeover of the lunar South Pole. To get to the moon, you need power. Unthinkable power. Enter the SLS, the Space Launch System. It costs $4.1 billion per single launch. To put that in perspective, you could buy a fleet of 100 private jets for the price of one takeoff. Critics call it a Senate launch system, a jobs program disguised as space exploration. But NASA argues it's the only way to carry the massive Orion capsule and the life support needed for deep space. We analyze the components, the RS-25 engines, the solid rocket boosters, and the massive orange fuel tank. It's a marvel of 20th century engineering, updated for a 21st century mission. But is it obsolete before it even flies, compared to SpaceX's Starship? Why the South Pole of the moon? Because that's where the gold is. Not yellow gold, but white gold, water ice. If you have ice, you have oxygen to breathe and hydrogen for rocket fuel. This makes the moon a gas station for missions to Mars. But the real prize is helium-3, a rare isotope that could enable nuclear fusion, clean, limitless energy. A single shuttle load of helium-3 could power the United States for an entire year. The estimated value? Quadrillions of dollars. This isn't exploration. It's the beginning of the great lunar mining era. In the 1960s, it was the US versus the USSR. Today, the rival is much more formidable: China. The CNSA, China National Space Administration, is landing rovers and planning a base on the moon by 2030. If China claims the lunar South Pole first, they set the laws. They control the water. Artemis II is America's move to ensure Western dominance. And this time, it's not just governments, it's SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Lockheed Martin. This is a public-private partnership designed to colonize. The winner of this race will control the 22nd century economy. Meet the 4 humans risking everything. They will pass through the Van Allen radiation belts, endure extreme G-forces, and face the absolute loneliness of the lunar far side. Artemis II is the bridge. Without this mission, there is no Artemis III landing, no lunar gateway, no Mars. As the countdown hits 0 at Cape Canaveral, we aren't just watching a rocket. We are watching the birth of a multi-planetary civilization. The cost is high, the risk is extreme, but the price of staying behind is even higher. Inside the Orion capsule, every cubic inch is a masterpiece of survival engineering. Unlike the Apollo missions, Orion is built for deep space radiation. It features a storm shelter to protect astronauts from solar flares that could fry human DNA in minutes. We dive into the life support systems, how they recycle air and water, and the advanced heat shield that must withstand 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit upon re-entry. It's a flying fortress, but for 4 people, it's a cramped, high-stakes prison for 10 days. While NASA builds the SLS, Elon Musk is building the Starship. One is a government-funded legacy rocket, the other is a rapidly iterating disruptor. The tension is palpable. NASA needs SpaceX to land humans on the moon, but SpaceX's Starship could eventually make the $100 billion SLS obsolete. If Starship becomes fully reusable and slashes costs to a fraction of NASA's budget, the entire business model of space exploration changes. Is NASA funding its own replacement? We analyze the high-stakes contract between the US government and the world's most ambitious billionaire. Artemis II is the precursor to the Lunar Gateway, a permanent space station that will orbit the moon. Think of it as the International Space Station, but 250,000 miles away. This isn't just a rest stop. It's a laboratory and a staging ground for Mars. Companies like Northrop Grumman and Maxar are building the modules. The Gateway represents a permanent human presence in lunar orbit, signaling to the world that this time, we aren't just visiting, we are moving in. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty says no nation can own the moon, but the Artemis Accords, led by the US, introduce a new concept, safety zones. This is where international law meets corporate greed. If a company mines helium-3, who owns the profit? If China builds a base next to NASA's, who has jurisdiction? We explore the looming legal battles that will be fought not in space, but in courtrooms back on Earth. The moon is the new Wild West, and the laws are being written in real time. Ultimately, Artemis II is the dress rehearsal for Mars. Everything we learn, from radiation protection to psychological endurance, is a lesson for the 2-year journey to the Red Planet. The moon is our proving ground. If we can't survive 10 days in lunar orbit, we have no chance on Mars. This mission is the first step in a multi-generational journey that will define the 21st century. As the world watches Artemis II, they are seeing the first chapter of humanity's future as a multiplanetary species.